significant other, girlfriend, whether they're married, but whoever, however she defined partner, they are living in a one bedroom in the near downtown area, and they are paying $1,600.
What?
Paying $1,600. I put it on Facebook, and I said, look, we will probably have people paying to $2,000 or $2,500 by 2020 or 2025. I think that's what I put on Facebook. And so my friends wrote me back, and they said, guess what, Mark? We're already there. There's an apartment complex here called One City, and they said that there are some one-bedrooms there that are going for $2,000.
Dang, man, you better off getting a house, Jack.
Exactly.
$2,000 a month for a one-bedroom?
For one bedroom?
Nah, bruh. No. Hell no.
He didn't just say no. He said heck to the no.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but that's a little too much for not enough space. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's a very small space for what you're charging. Unless that one bedroom is the size of a regular house, it's not even worth it. You're better off getting a mortgage, and then if you don't want to, live in it anymore or move, sell a house.
Exactly.
Oh, man.
Folks are paying way too much money for too little.
Oh, yeah. And
I understand, because I was looking on Facebook recently that you actually had a chance to meet with a man that I'm trying to get on the show, and we've had a couple of his cohorts, like the Sun and everything, but it looks to me like you had a chance at some event recently to hang out with both Rhapsody and Ninth Wonder. I do not know what this event was. I just know I saw a picture of you and them at an event that looked like it might have been maybe a week or two ago. I don't know. We hadn't talked about it. So tell the listeners about how you were hanging out with Ninth and Rhapsody and what this was all about.
Actually, I'm a part of that Jamla family. I'm a part of that Internet Special Ops team known as the Jamla Army. We do the social media promotions for Jamla Records and all of the artists. Those pictures are now probably between 3, 4, 5 years old. I know I had reposted one for Ninth's birthday, which was the 15th. Right. And then Rhapsody's birthday was on the 21st. So, the pictures that I have a couple of them with each of them. But they're family. So, I had to wish my family happy birthday. And so the pictures are not that recent, but for the past 7 years, me and a few other people have promoted all things Jamla. From the artists that used to be on the label, to the artists that are currently on the label, to the production team, the beat makers known as the Soul Council, so, we just keep pushing that. I keep telling everybody to get familiar because Jamla is a squad. They just came out with Jamla is a Squad Part 2, and if you have not gotten it, go check that out and support, the premier sound courtesy of the Soul Council. Make sure you get your neck braces. Those are necessary to have because you're going to nod that head and you're going to enjoy what they bring to the table. They're bringing that real hip-hop feeling all the way back. Right now in radio, we have a lot of different sounds. I won't say it's a negative sound. I won't say if it's positive because somebody likes it. But I choose to support what I like. And thanks to, those individuals down there in North Carolina where you are, still haven't moved or anything like that, very humble, very down to earth. And like I said, they treat this dude who is about as famous as the drywall that I'm looking at right now and treat him just like we've known each other all our lives. So salute King Ninth, salute the Black Jedi Zulu, all the artists of Jamla Records, all my fellow soldiers in the Jamla Army. So
and they're doing their thing. There's no doubt about that. They're keeping things rolling along for sure.
Oh yeah. One thing I did see, and it was posted earlier today, AMC Theaters is going to screen Black Panther for free at participating theaters during Black History Month. So,
oh wow!
It says to celebrate Black History Month, Black Panther, which made over $1.3 billion at the international box office, is returning to select AMC theaters from February 1st through February 7th. That is not so coincidentally right before the Oscar voting closes on the 12th of February. This film was directed by Ryan Coogler, is up for 7 Academy Awards, including Best Original Score, Best Original Song, Best Costume Design, and in a historic first, Best Picture. So
wow, Best Picture.
In addition to screening it at select AMC participating theaters for that week, they'll also donate $1.5 million to the United Negro College Fund to make the dream of higher education a reality for more students. So shout out to AMC Theaters for doing that. Y'all better check to see if the one near you is going to show Black Panther for free. Go ahead and see it in the movie theater one more time.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And speaking of things that are very important to people and very dear to people, we must, because I've been to a couple of events where it was mentioned. I went to the TABJ. They mentioned because the guy from UNC TV, he was one of the people who was there, and he talked about it. And then I also saw on Tuesday, the day after we did our last show, Pierce Freelon had the pleasure of speaking about some of the sheroes and heroes that are both historical, like Polly Murray, and some of those that are coming up now, like the people behind the Me Too movement and things of that nature. But one of the things that was very important in both of those people's speeches and conversations was the fact that there's a whole movement about trying to save Bennett College. We do know that a lot of our HBCUs are in dear trouble, so there's a very powerful movement to try to save Bennett College. So there's a lot of people that are doing presentations. I know Pierce dedicated his whole funds that he was getting from speaking to the move to save Bennett, and there were others that are doing stuff similar. I do know that if you go online and look up the efforts to save Bennett College, there is a very big push to save this historical black college that has a lot of importance to people throughout. I mean, it was definitely part of even some of the stuff that was going on with the sit-ins back in the 60s and everything. Some of those women that are Bennett graduates were very much involved in that. Of course, the guys get a lot of credit, but there were a lot of women that were also part of that as well. So it was very important that we do whatever we can to save Bennett College and some of these other black colleges, HBCUs, that are in dire trouble. So they're in all kinds of financial trouble. So I was glad to see people doing that and showing their support. So definitely, if you're not familiar with what's going on, you should do that and let folks know that.
So, yeah, and it's important that, those who are alumni of our historically black colleges and universities, make sure you reach back and give back to your school. Going down to CIAA is cool, for those that want to do it, but your universities should use a lot of your dollars in so many other ways if given directly to them. And also, I guess we have to look at selection on who's on those boards, who's making the decisions that will affect future generations from the black colleges and universities, and who is more interested in growth and, future existence than just the right now. So, support our HBCUs, man. They do have the United Negro College Fund. They also have the Thurgood Marshall College Fund for those HBCUs that do not fall under the UNCF. So, take a look at those, and every little dollar helps.
Oh, yes. There's no doubt every little dollar helps. And another thing that I went to that was very interesting, I did not know a lot of the history. I mean, I knew that she was involved in a lot of stuff with gender equality and things of that nature. But I went to see a movie called On the Basis of Sex, which is actually about the early case that kind of propelled Ruth Bader Ginsburg into fame. Now, I know some people are like Felicity Jones, she's of British descent, so she really pull off the role. I did not see a dry eye in the movie house. It was actually at the Carolina Theater, and it definitely touched a lot of people. I mean, she has who was actually a professor at Georgetown, a very sassy daughter who was sassy when she was a teenager and everything, and they had some clashes, but it was definitely a very powerful movie, and I always learned a lot about Ruth Bader Ginsburg that I did not know, including her closeness with her husband, who is currently a very well-known tax attorney and things of that nature. And then I later found out at the credits that her son, because they have both a daughter and a son, the son owns a record label out of, I believe, Chicago that concentrates primarily on classical music. But it was just really amazing learning some of the things that she was involved in. Apparently she was one of the early people when they kind of had women go into Harvard Law School and wound up getting her degree from Columbia. And then I think she actually clashed with, on one of her premier cases with one of her attorneys, and she was basically like, look, yeah, y'all might have given me my early education, but the real education I got was from Columbia, so, you know, y'all might be hard, but I've actually got my education from some other people as well. So it was really interesting just learning all that she's about. I understand the documentary is even more powerful, so I'm going to try to get my hands on that. But that's just a lot of things about her and her life that I did not know. And, of course, you know, the whole movement with gender equality was really put out in the front in the 70s. So there's even a point in the movie, I think it's in the 70s or set in like that part of the 70s, where she's going up against a major attorney, and the attorney goes and has connections to the Pentagon, because that's how you had access to the Internet. You remember when the Internet was a big mammoth thing running out of the government. So he actually got all his documents about gender laws and all of this kind of stuff, because he went to get this mammoth document and had this massive brief that he thought was going to scare her away. But apparently she got a little intimidated at first, but she came back and she's like, look, this is an important cause that I'm fighting for, so I'm not going to let y'all try to scare me away. I'm going to show y'all that I'm the real deal. And she won the case. And it was actually a case that involved a gentleman that was trying to maintain care for his elderly mother. So I think he was a bachelor, and he was trying to help care for his elderly mother. And that was actually one of the major gender-based cases that opened up some of the gender laws that we have now, or equal, fairness for the genders kind of laws. So it was just a fascinating movie, and I was glad to get a chance to check it out and watch it. And like I said, learned a lot about Ruth Bader that I did not know in the past.
Okay. So I'm going to check that out. Speaking of movies, Taraji P. Henson received the 2,655th star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I know on Twitter she usually uses the hashtag, love me from you. Well, we love us from you, and congratulations to you for receiving that star on the Walk of Fame. That star is actually on the same block, on the opposite side of the street from the star that Betty Davis received, and it's on the same side of the street, a block away. You know what I'm saying? So it's her new film What Men Want comes out next Friday, February the 8th. So she's doing a couple of things, born in D.C., single mother. So I guess you can make it out of the situation. When you talk about, whether hard work yields results, it depends on, I guess, what you do. If you go out there and you want to be in a saturated market, it may be a little bit harder to get what you want to get, or if you don't pick the right thing, then you could be in a situation where you're working hard, but there's so much competition that you may not yield the results that you're looking for.
Yeah, there's a lot of things you may think that and you're right, sometimes you have to settle into a smaller market and then maybe make it to the big market once you made your name for yourself in that smaller market. But some people try to jump into the automatic freight automatically, not thinking that how important it is to even get their support in a small environment and sometimes they're even smaller than markets like Durham and Raleigh. It might even be like a small town like Rocky Mount, or a small town like y'all have up there. I know there's some small towns outside of New York and New Jersey, but sometimes that's where you have to make your break at, and then after you make that break, then you can go into the big markets.
Right. You can't come out the gate thinking that you're going to get rich. For some people, it does happen that way. But for the other people, they take those small steps, which leads to bigger steps. And then before they know it, they have a whole legacy that they've left behind. And then they just go from there, man. But it takes time. It takes determination. It's going to take a bunch of sleepless nights. it could take a bunch of days where you might want to just curse everybody out.